Hello everybody, as you can see, the two characters I'm equipping now is going to be part of the Rerun banner. So this is just some of my thoughts so that you can make some decision on who to build, who to pull, and coming from both silo characters. But I do have to say, I'm a C1 Hotao user, but I know that C0 Hotao user is going to do something like this: jump cancel and then do normal attack spam so that you don't overexert yourself. And the thing is that if you trying to get a really strong pyro DPS, she is the one, but you're gonna have to pull through some of the limitation, like stamina control is gonna be one of the pivotal part of a gameplay. Health control, which is like you're gonna play the really thin ice crossing over, trying to avoid getting all the destruction from left and right. And the best part is, of course, you can use your burst to heal, which is not too bad, but you will in general live in a rate threshold, just like an element. And if you can bypass all these two kind of aspect of a gameplay, then she is the best pyro character for you. And I played her since the first banner, and without her, I wouldn't have cleared so much content on all the difficult content. It's like it's a breeze because of her. And that's pretty much Hotao. Now I'll get to the weapon banner later. So the second one is Yelan. Now Yelan is no doubt is one of the best character in the game, and it's not only just a combat prowess. Like, she has another skill that lets you traverse the world at ease, and this is a really big thing. Like, you look at around you, when you play Genshin, most of the time it's going to be like exploring, walking around the place, right? So with Yelan traversal technique, it allows you to be like have a budget car, you know, because Genshin don't have vehicle just yet. This is the best vehicle we have right now in Sumeru. Now, it doesn't mean that Hotao can't, but you do need to unlock her C1. Then you can do this, which I don't know if it's too efficient or what. But if you do charge attack spam, you can restore your stamina so you can travel further also. That was also one of the reasons why I went for a concentration 1 in the early game, because traversing around the Tavad is so important. It makes your life easier. What about her rest of her kit? And as you can just see, there's a glowing circle. If I can find a combat for you, so let me try to find a combat for you. And at this point, if you have issues with the low HP, then don't pull for Hotao, because you got to really get used to living on that. Gonna die. So right here, some demo of Yelan, which is something like this. Of course, you do have to get lucky. You don't always get an opportunity to do that. Her burst is an homing type, so you can use it against those floaters like the nasty specters or whatsoever. So that's the good thing about her kit. As you can see, that the last one didn't actually register to get the charge attack, but when it does, oh boy, the combat is just so fun. Of course, if you really go to super invest and go into Constellation 6, you can do that. But of course, we are just here to talk about like really tight budget, C1, C0, C2. All this is good enough. So with that, you know, that is how I prefer to play Yelan. Now, I'm going to go into their build. For Yelan, there's like a free-to-play options. We got Favonius Wobble. It works great on her if you don't have any other options. So, not to mention, everybody has this weapon, so that's pretty good. And if you didn't miss the previous event, you can also use Fading Twilight, which is, I think, the developer getting a bit guilty for not having enough 4-star free options to give us. So, there's that. But if you don't have this weapon, Favonius is nice. But I prefer to use Sacrificial Bow. And as you can see earlier on, the combat is that fun. It's just a combat style for me. And I get to experience Concession 1 for free. When it comes to Hotao though, there really isn't a lot of options for her, because like crafted weapon like Crescent Pike is not too great. And to be honest, if you haven't forget about White Tassel that you didn't accidentally destroy or manage to keep it in your exploration in Liyue, then it's one of the best weapons you can get for her because of her playstyle. But other than that, there really isn't much options. Like, if you really have no choice, then you can have Wound Piercer or even Kitian Cross Spear at some point. And even the Missive Wind Spear could potentially be great for her, but It's not great because she don't need attack percent due to her low base attack stats. That's not going to benefit much from this. So an elemental mastery substats weapon is like her second best options that you should look out for. Before I forget, the reason why elemental mastery is kind of good for her is because of like how vaporize reaction could really use some elemental mastery to boost the damage, and at some point you can even go for Black Cliff Pro from Paimon's Bargain, but you can really only use it for as a stack stick. The attack percent, as I mentioned, not going to help much. So in that aspect, she don't have a lot of like accessible options available to you. And Dragon's Bane is a put weapon banner, as you can see. Granted, if you have it already, then it's obviously her best options that you can get without like going purposefully for stuff of Homa. But when it comes to building a character, it's a different situation. Although it doesn't really matter what artifact, where does it come from or what. But you know, if you are new players or even long time players, it's nice to have a character that can build over a domain that have an artifact that can be used for a lot of peoples. And this is the case for both Yelan and Hu Tao, because they both uses an artifact from the same domain. Don't mind the girls, he's just a little bit angry at times. Because both of them uses this domain. Hu Tao can use the Shiminawa set and Yelan uses the emblem set. Now you may be confused. Why? Why does Hu Tao uses this? When her burst, I think her best set has been mentioned to be the Crimson Wish of Flames. Now, there's a few implications. First, Crimson Wish of Flame is a very toxic domain to play. Just don't bother about this one. And plus, if you tend to play Hu Tao in like spam normal attack and charge attack like a C0 user would or any Hu Tao user would, the Shiminawa set is actually pretty competent enough. Not to mention, you also got the strong box right here that allows you to convert excessive crap into Crimson Wish of Flames, so it spares you the trouble. When you are trying to find a good artifact, you can also spend some resources here to get a lingering Crimson Wish of Flames if you want to. Then it goes to the weapon. Now, a lot of people has recommended these two are really good static weapon. If you have the currency to afford it, go ahead. Just a big disclaimer. They are a really great static weapon, and if you have them, it makes you building characters so much more easier. You don't have to chase for the absolute insane artifact set to do a really good result. The only problem with this banner is the 4-star weapon is garbage, because they know that the 5-star is pretty good. Ras is okay, but there's really not a lot of like bow character that can use this. You have to be on field, you have to spend on my attack. That's like only Yoimiya to do it. Chao can do it. Who else? An on-field physical facial? Yes, probably. Next is the Favonius series. Favonius Sword is pretty good, but the Catalyst, not a fan choice to be honest. A lot of people don't really want to use it. Then we got Litty Blade. It's okay. It's a good thing, but kept into Li Yue characters, and you start to question why is Li Yue the only region with this weapon? What about other country? Then we got Dragon's Bane, which is second runner-up options to Hu Tao, as long as you got high amount of like what do we call it? Refinement. Yes, high amount of refinement. You're good to go. Just that you got to adjust your stats accordingly. Maybe your artifact, you can go full on offensive. You don't have to care about elemental mastery anymore. That's about it.